Yes. Yeah. Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar hosted by Nordnet along with Real Fiction. First of all, I'm gonna say a few words in Danish, so please just hang on for all of you English-speaking people out there. Ja, god eftermiddag og hjertelig velkommen til det her webinar, som bliver holdt i samarbejde med Nordnet i samarbejde med Real Fiction. Det er således, at vi har rigtig mange engelsktalende med på linjen i dag, så vi kommer til at køre webinaret på engelsk. Der har været rigtig stor global og international interesse for præsentationen her. Man kan stille spørgsmål undervejs, og dem er man meget velkommen til at stille på dansk. Jeg stiller dem videre til Clas på engelsk, men hvis man gerne vil have et dansk svar, så skriver vi lige et svar til jer bagefter. Man kan stille spørgsmål under den funktion, der hedder questions ude i højre side undervejs. Og nu slår vi så tilbage til engelsk igen. Yeah, and we're switching back to English. First of all, yes, a very big welcome and thank you for joining this webinar with Nordnet along with Real Fiction. First of all, we would say we're going to host it in English because there is quite a lot of you guys out there signed in from foreign countries, so we decided to do it in English for sure. We're gonna start the presentation within a few minutes here. Clas Dyrholm, CEO and co-founder of Real Fiction, will start by making a presentation in, it's about 35-40 minutes, is the best guess. And after that, we will open up for questions, and you're very welcome to ask questions during the presentation. You have a function and the toolbar probably in the right side of your screen where you have a function just called questions, where you can write a question to Clas. So please don't hesitate to ask during the presentation. And with those words from Nordnet, I will leave the microphone to Clas from Real Fiction and wish you a very good and pleasant presentation.
Good afternoon and welcome again. I have the pleasure of introducing you to our Step Up 19 strategy. Note the term social mixed reality here. This is a term I'll be using several times today, and I will also explain what we mean by this social mixed reality and why we have set out to create that category. Today's agenda is divided into 4 parts. I trust most of you have already seen the short video included in our invitation for this webinar, a video simply called Real Fiction Step Up 19, and I will therefore not play it today. If some of you listening today are new to Real Fiction and have not seen that video, I recommend that you spend 4 minutes later on doing so, as you'll meet my co-founder Peter and I, and hopefully get a better impression about who we are and where we come from. You can find the video in the investor section on our website, realfiction.com. In a moment, I'll begin today's agenda by briefly describing where we are today. But the major part of this webinar is about 2 subjects. The first is called Magic as a Service and is the business model that we will use to drastically step up our existing business. The second part is an introduction to the new and groundbreaking technology that Peter and his colleagues in innovation is working on, and why we believe that will disrupt the mixed reality market. Finally, I will conclude by summing up our plan and forecast for the coming years. Real Fiction is positioned in the mixed reality category. And what is that? You could say that mixed reality is the result of blending the real world with the digital world, where the digital elements are anchored to the real world and allows a user to interact with it. Mixed reality is also a part of the VR, AR, MR space, which is increasingly hot and growing fast, and is set out to be a multi-billion-dollar market in a few years. For the past 10 years, we have been delivering display solutions to brand owners whose purpose is to differentiate their products at point of sale, create attention, and drive sales. And we have recently launched Deep Frame, a large window allowing everyone passing by to look into a truly mixed reality world through its lens, without having to wear a headset. The solution has been very well received and is currently finding its way into exhibitions and events around the world. My co-founder Peter and I started this journey back in 2002 by doing one-off custom events around the world. In 2008, we started Realfiction and began creating and selling standardized products for retail and expos. This approach allowed us to reach many more clients around the world with more affordable and scalable solutions. But the barriers of this approach are that the client has to purchase the hardware and find someone else to create the content and implement the solution at the retailer if they are allowed to do so. Over the last couple of months, we have now begun implementing our new business model, Magic as a Service, providing full end-to-end solutions to the brand owners at retail and expos. And in the near future, we aim to revolutionize the market with a new social mixed reality technology. This brings us to the two main stories for today. First, a story about our next evolution through the business model Magic as a Service. A story about the world's first mixed reality media channel and a powerful, profitable, and trouble-free model. And after that, a story about a revolution through groundbreaking technology. The holy grail in mixed reality is to create a solution that allows groups of people to enjoy and interact with the experience without having to wear glasses or being restricted by other physical barriers. But first, the why, how, and what of the model we have chosen to call Magic as a Service. Why bother, you may ask? Is retail even going to survive? Well, the answer to that last question is yes. Retail is changing, sure. Retail has to change, but the physical point of sale locations are here to stay, and it is a huge market. Even Amazon is now building physical stores. New shop formats are emerging because even with the ease and conformity of online trading, most people want to see, touch, feel, and try. We want to experience and be attracted. Otherwise, we find it hard to choose. But retailers need to make themselves attractive and offer relevant customer experiences. Very recent UK studies show that 81% of UK consumers identify the physical store as vital to the shopping experience. Another interesting number is that 70% of these consumers expect the retailers to start using augmented reality technologies within the next 6 months. And surprisingly, at least to me, a whopping 61% claim to be changing where they go to shop based on the availability of such AR solutions. That's what I call a strong signal towards retailers. And they are listening. So we now have a situation where retailers are welcoming attractive customer experience solutions with open arms. And still, the brand owners are willing to pay high amounts to stand out and be heard in their efforts to sell their products over the competitors. Our approach is based on the natural first reaction to a magical sight. and that reaction is curiosity. When we humans see something magical, we are instinctively curious. How's that possible? Is the object inside real or virtual? Is that a hologram? The powerful thing about curiosity in marketing is that it opens up your mind. In your effort to understand what is going on, all senses are awoken and you step closer to examine. That's step one in our value proposition. We get people to stop and become curious. While stepping closer, you are decoding the information given to you. An object or product intuitively communicating its USPs and value. A playful way to virtually advise consumers of a product's relevance. Notice how people start smiling when they're looking at our solutions. This positive curiosity will lead to two major actions. One is that we humans wish to document and share an experience that we find cool and magical, so people will start photographing and filming. And the other, and even more powerful action is that the curiosity is transferred to the product on display, ultimately leading to increased sales. Brand owners know this, which is why we have been able to sell thousands of displays, even though their customer journey has been paved with barriers, as explained earlier. With Magic as a Service, we have taken everything necessary to pull off a successful campaign and bundled it into a full solution, making the brand owner's decision easy and their execution effortless. We use our unique display and stand solutions that are the technical foundation making the whole experience possible. But we no longer force the brand owner to purchase a number of these in order to activate their campaign. They simply pay for the magic they provide in the needed period, leaving the entire decision up to the person in charge of promoting that specific product in store. We then utilize our expert knowledge and tools to create just the right movie for that campaign. We know exactly what works and how to do it, and this results in more impactful campaigns. But what's just as crucial is that it also means we have short delivery times and reasonable pricing. We also offer important features like automatic updates of new content information and different types of interactivity solutions. Take, for example, the campaign we are running for Danske Spil currently. Those movies are renewed every week via dedicated 4G connections, so they always communicate the correct lottery pot sizes. A very important service for the client, as they are normally struggling getting printed posters out fast enough, and secondly, making sure that they are actually being manually switched in every location. Lastly, we make sure that implementation and maintenance is not only flawless, but also well documented, leaving the client satisfied and able to share the case story internally, which inevitably leads to more bookings. All this made simple as an end-to-end service for a fixed fee, which is a lot easier to deal with. And of course, we use brand partners along the way as well. The way we built this retail media channel is by targeting the different needs individually. As explained earlier on the why slides, the retailers are ready to welcome this type of solutions. So first, we go to the right retailer, the one with enough foot traffic and a huge amount of large brand owners fighting for position. Then we tell them about our value proposition and how the solution looks and works, attracting attention, sparking curiosity, and creating more sales. And so far, they cannot argue. They know it works. Then we tell them that they do not have to pay anything and that we will take care of everything. Now we have their undivided attention. All they need to do is guarantee us that they can provide a good location in the relevant section of their store when we need it. They can do that. What's not to like? And with that agreement, we've secured prime locations with the right retailers. Now, in the second step, we go to the brand owners. Remember, they have always had the appetite for this solution, but what they don't want is to own the complete hardware package, and they need the right location in order to get in front of enough consumers. And they used to have to fight for every inch of space at the prime locations. So what we now offer them is a unique campaign position with tailor-made mixed reality storytelling around their product to attract and advise the consumer about the offer, plus integrated shelf positions with us, which is an additional prime product location that they are used to pay high margins to get, of course, branded to fit their purpose. All this in a neat package that can be planned in connection with product launches, special campaigns, seasonal activities, or simply before the competitor claims it. The market potential here is real, and the current alternatives, I must say, are boring and surprisingly expensive. Today, we announced the leading Danish retailer Bilka as our first media channel agreement. This is a great start, as any brand owner selling consumer goods in Denmark is eager to promote their products inside their stores, being the largest hypermarkets in the country. I mentioned the campaign we are running currently for Danske Spil. This campaign is currently running in all Bilka stores, and the positive experiences Bilka is getting from this campaign has convinced them that the model works. And I was happy to also announce earlier today that Danske Spil has chosen to extend their campaign, so it now runs until January 1st. The approach we have for Magic as a Service at expos is slightly different, but includes the same core components. In this case, we use our larger displays like DreamUp Diamond and Deep Frame as the platform, and offer packages in variations depending on the need in each case. This can vary from rental of the display itself to complete solutions with content creation, interactivity, and implementation. In the end of my presentation, I'll sum up our plans and expectations for each business opportunity. But now, today's second important story. The story about our next horizon and why we believe that will disrupt the category. We have begun developing a new innovative solution that is very different from anything else on the market. Imagine the experiences of augmented and mixed reality that people are already very interested in today. And then imagine these experiences taking place naturally in front of you without you having to put on glasses, gloves, or being limited by any other barrier between you and what you see and feel. Imagine an experience without side effects like disorientation, bad hairdos, or risk of social isolation. This is what the new technology we're working on offers. And most important of all, in a time where one-person experiences and screen time are taking over our social sphere, we want to take back the public space and even the private homes as places where we share unique experiences together. Hence the reason why we have set out to create the term social mixed reality. Let me tell you a short story as an example. A story about the value of a shared magical experience. I recently talked to a friend of mine about the most magical moments of our childhood. We talked about movies, and not just the movies, but the experience of watching them. My friend told me that she clearly remembers her best and worst experiences with movies. The best was, without a doubt, when she saw Disney's Beauty and the Beast for the first time. She was with her friend, and she remembers them being so captivated that they held each other's hands in a tight grip of excitement for the most part of the movie. She said to me that she remembers this feeling of her friend's hand more clearly than she remembers the movie itself. Her friend remembers exactly the same thing. Now, that was a shared mixed reality experience none of them will ever forget. Her worst experience, however, was also a Disney movie, The Little Mermaid, but it had nothing to do with the movie itself. She'd gone to the movie theater by herself, and whenever the film was extra touching, scary, exciting, or beautiful, she became aware that she was alone and that she had no one to share her experience with. That took something away from her concentration and from her enjoyment. And afterwards, it was an experience she couldn't really share with anyone. The potentially magical moment was lost. To me, her story is a very good example why real magical experiences are those you share with others. Now, a series of studies have shown that those who share positive experiences with others feel happier, claims that their life is more meaningful, and reports greater life satisfaction. So, sharing experiences will not only make those experiences increasingly better in the moment, they will also have the potential for a much bigger impact, not only on you, but on the people you share them with. Studies also show that when we share a common experience, it improves our sense of belonging. And the sense of acceptance and belonging is, according to the acknowledged American psychologist Abraham Maslow, considered to be necessary social needs for everyone to make us feel happy and fulfilled. So, in other words, there are very good reasons for being persistent in the pursuit of solutions that make truly magical and social experiences possible. And it's safe to say that the possibilities of one-person experiences with head-mounted technologies, glasses or lenses, are being covered in plenty. VR and mixed reality is a hotspot for investors who have invested billions of dollars in a number of startups. And almost all the major players, including Google, Microsoft, and Sony, are also working on this. The promises made by these companies in the VR and MR industry are many, and we have seen a lot of interesting solutions. But we have also seen a degree of disappointment, of being underwhelmed, of realizing that these solutions won't give us all that we hope they could give. At Real Fiction, we believe that head-mounted mixed reality glasses is only a first immature step on the way towards truly magical and shared moments. We want technology that offers advanced holographic experiences without any glasses or other lenses between the eye and the hologram. No barriers, no secluded solo experiences, an open, free-floating, fully visible and touchable experience that you can share with the people around you. Let's imagine for a moment how that could impact a couple of industries. Gaming is a gigantic industry, and kids today, my own included, spend too much time isolated in front of a screen. I know that they also interact and communicate to each other through those screens, but why do they have to hurry home from school, each to their own room, just so they can meet up again in a virtual parallel universe and play together? Wouldn't it be cool if they went home together and enjoyed a real social and yet digital gaming experience where they could still challenge other friends or strangers online? Imagine if we could combine the digital design and construction processes of today with an integrated way of 3D modeling and visualizing the same concepts live in a contextual setting so that the team can walk around it and watch it from every angle while judging the delicate and so important details that make the difference between good and great. There's already a lot of talk about Classroom 3.0 and how learning in 3D is going to completely change the way we study. Text and images are two-dimensional, but to understand complex structures within chemistry, biology, engineering, environment, and so on, our brains have to turn everything into 3D, because the world and everything in it is 3D. So 3D technology is going to change education and change students from being passive consumers of education to become active participants and explorers of knowledge. Shouldn't we at the same time protect the long-time proven effects of team or group-based learning? Popular live events could be transmitted and experienced at several locations. Events like e-sport tournaments could provide a much more full and detailed overview of the action. Wayfinding in large areas and product browsing at retail locations could be made more intuitive and multi-user friendly. Just reach out and touch, grab, push and pull. Interaction is going to be so much more fun when two-finger gestures in a specific position is replaced by actually reaching out and touching the image in full 3D. Enabling museums and experience centers to digitally revive creatures and historic persons in full 3D and natural size, and with no barrier between the visitor and the volumetric images, is going to be so much fun. Think of how your kids would react. Being able to showcase expensive items in full 3D while deciding or choosing options could certainly benefit some shopping situations. And imagine those exhibiting on an expo, from visualizing where to go on your next holiday to explaining exactly what their company does and how they do it. I could think of 1,000 great use cases. And who says everything has to be virtual? Just like we do today, you could exhibit real items and then have the virtual and interactive information floating all around it. And with transportation polluting our planet, why not accelerate the use of virtual meetings, especially if those meetings are creating a similar feeling of presence and contact, and both parties can point and interact with the same digital elements. The potential of such a technology is great, and the impact it will have on people is even greater. We're now working on this technology, and if you, like us, believe there is a vast potential of such a technology, then consider where Real Fiction can be in a few years' time if we succeed. Do note that we are still not going to use important resources on building giant factories, getting the infrastructural muscles for producing the actual hardware. Instead, we will be working with others who are already extremely good at this on an IP-based license basis. And keep in mind that we already have a long-lasting relationship with a very strong display producer, Antran, who is also a large shareholder in Real Fiction. With the launch of our new mixed reality channel, media channel, we will start delivering our Magic as a Service model to brand owners and retailers. And with the right locations and a service approach, sorry, I was going to address those three curves first. So we see three, each large and interesting revenue streams here. Now the blue one is for Magic as a Service, green one is for projects, and projects being the more sort of yesterday's approach where we sell hardware. Now, one thing to note here is that in the first period here, you should expect moderate top line growth in the transition from projects onto Magic as a Service model. we are now working on this. With the launch of our new mixed reality media channel, we will start delivering our Magic as a Service model to brand owners and retailers. And with the right locations and a service approach, the course is set towards a far more scalable model. We begin locally and extend from the Nordics, with Germany planned in H2 2019. And as mentioned in yesterday's press release about the media channel approach, we see a healthy revenue stream building up around this. And in combination with the expo approach, we believe this Magic as a Service model to provide Real Fiction with a yearly revenue of 100 million Danish kroner within a couple of years. Gradually, we expect to see that our project deliveries, also when it comes to our large units, Deep Frame and Diamond, will convert into Magic as a Service deliveries. The exception will be delivery of fixed installations into sites in showrooms, at museums, in hotels, amusement parks, etc. Even when we sell hardware for fixed installations, Real Fiction will continue to deliver content with the frequency required by the client to secure continued freshness and truly magical experiences, also for returning audiences. We're beginning to see a number of categories of user scenarios being used and reused by our partners and end clients. And this includes the life-size human virtual presenter, you could call it, or host or virtual advisor. And you can expect to hear more about the progress of our new technology under the working title Project Echo throughout 2019. We can share more details as soon as the necessary IP is secured. And as we ramp up innovation investments gradually while building momentum on the daily business, we will more clearly separate budgets for R&D from the operating business to make it easier to follow both developments. So one thing we still will follow is also what we claimed in the memorandum of going cash flow positive on the daily business operations within 2019. So without the investments in product development. The AR and VR industry has spent 10 years and more than $10 billion getting to where we are today. We need significantly less time and also less money to create our technology. But it will, of course, cost serious money and it will take time. So we're looking into a huge opportunity that we will step up big time to capture. We believe that it will be worthwhile waiting for, no matter if you're a future user of our technology or owner of our shares. We will, of course, be needing additional capital to fulfill these plans. But we recently took in a convertible bridge loan of 6 million. So the first part of the plan is funded and going ahead on full steam. And we believe that over the next couple of months, we will be able to share more progress around both major focus areas and will therefore be in a stronger position to take in the needed capital at an attractive price. With that, I wish to thank you for your time today and welcome any questions there may be. It was my pleasure sharing our new strategy Step Up 19 with you. And of course, stay tuned for more updates in the time to come. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that presentation, Clas. First of all, I see that we have received a number of questions during the presentation here. So first of all, I'm gonna put these up on the screen so Clas can look at them, and then we will run through them. Yeah, there was a comment regarding the audio, but I think it was regarding the video that we played, and there was not audio on the video that we played, so there was not an issue there. But that's just the reason of that. Before we run through these questions, I would like to ask Clas, considering your new plan here and your new launches, what should I, as an investor, if I wear my investor glasses now, what can I expect from you? We heard something about that you're expecting to go cash flow positive next year. But what should I expect in the coming years during sales and during growth in the company in general?
So we are investing heavily now in sales and ramp up of our Magic as a Service model. So what you should expect, especially during second half of 2019, is a steady and clear growth in revenue. This is a very detailed part of our plan that we will, of course, update on a regular basis. You should also expect, as I said, more news about the new technology now. I understand that this was sort of an overview in the beginning, but as soon as we have the IP finally secured, we can open up even more on how we're going to do it.
Yeah, thank you very much. And then let's go through the questions from the audience. I see that from the beginning we received a question from Peter that was, I would say, maybe partly answered in the end of the webinar here, but he's asking about that people in the market expects a right issue. Why are you waiting, and are you looking for some alternatives there?
Well, that just what I mentioned in the final part of my presentation is that what we are disclosing in the next couple of months and the progress we'll be sharing there, we believe will put us in a bit more strong position in order to take the needed capital in. And that's the reason why.
Yeah, thank you very much. And let's just run through. We're still receiving questions from you out there. That's super good to see. David is asking about the Pfizer. You might know what he's talking about, but because I don't actually know, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. And unfortunately, Pfizer is not really opening up as much as we were hoping. We have heard about strong indications of uplifts in sales, but currently they are still not willing to share their final internal documentations fully. But we are in a continued dialogue, and we know of interest in several other countries as well. So we will share more news as soon as we can about that one.
Okay. Yeah, that's a part of being a listed company. You have to be very focused on what you communicate, and there are some limitations for sure. And then a question as well from David. How is Hologon doing news about Hologon in 2019?
Yeah, as you were just saying, I cannot disclose any news on this webinar. So all I can say is that we will, of course, keep you updated and share news on the relevant channels as soon as we can.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, probably just the best answer right now is stay tuned for more information, right? Then a question from Peter regarding the financials, and that's if you make 100,000 DKK in 100 million DKK in 2021. That must be the turnover. What's your guess of the bottom line then?
Yeah, that's a very good and very detailed question. Now, I cannot, due to regulative reasons, get into more detail right now, but surely we will along the way, as I said, update on our forecasts and be more specific.
Okay, thank you. And then a question: what is the benefit to the resellers utilizing mass? It seems that the emphasis on the corporate level not reseller input, is or shared revenue?
Yeah, so this is a question from one of our very good partners and resellers in US. So good question, Joe. We are certainly seeing partners as part of our Magic as a Service model, and as soon as we've carved out all the details, we will be looking into shared revenue streams, because surely we will not be in all markets at the same time here. So we do see cooperation, certainly, as I also said in the presentation, for partners.
Very happy that you said that it was one of your resellers, because I was thinking that you have some investors who's very much into this market apparently, but that answers the question. Well, and then a question more: are you working with any partner in the developing of Project Echo?
I cannot go into details on that one, more than what I've already shared. I'm sorry, too early.
Okay. Any comment on the future IP strategy?
Well, we are working on it currently, and we'll secure everything needed over the next couple of months. So we go full on, because we do believe, as I said, that there is a vast opportunity in what we have here. So we are not, limiting ourselves at the moment, just making sure that we cover as much ground as possible. So we go strong ahead on the IP for the new technology.
Okay, thank you. And now a question that I probably already know the answer of, but I still need to ask you, Clas. It's actually a name drop. William is asking if you are in dialogue with companies like Tesco and like Walmart.
Yeah, so I'm quite sure that I'm not allowed to answer that one. Sorry, William.
But can you say something about is the retail market in general in the US a market that could be a good market for you in the future? Maybe we can ask it in that way.
Yeah, good way. So some of you may know the case we did with in Best Buy, where we actually sold 600 units into Best Buy for a hi-fi brand. Part of that story was that Best Buy really insisted on having this point of sales tool, our display, there. So they were really pushing the brand owner there to invest heavily into these devices. Now we were also we have been in the last couple of years in dialogue with many different both chains but also suppliers to chains, and they are showing great interest. One of the things that were clearly needed was an adjustment in business model from our side, and this is what we are doing now with the Magic as a Service approach, adjusting our business model to suit the needs that we hear so clearly from the chains, the brand owners, and the suppliers to the chains.
Okay, thank you, Clas. We're still receiving questions from you. That's super good to see. Just let them keep coming in. Now we have a question from an unidentified attendee, I can see, and that's a question regarding not named Australian car dealer and how that deal is going. Sorry, how are the business with the Australian car dealer going to be free?
I cannot specifically go into that, but I think he's referring to we issued a press release not too long ago about one of the largest car manufacturers going on a expo road trip in Asia. This is just these days. The first show launched 3 days ago, I think. So we're still waiting for some more materials there, but so far we hear that they are really happy and excited about the response.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe we should some kind of sum up, because we get a lot of questions now that you say that it's hard to say anything about Clas, and for sure there are some secrets inside the company, but it's also a part of being a listed company that you have to be very clear about how you communicate stuff, and that you can't say whatever you just want on a webinar, because it has to be communicated in the right way, right? So that might be one of the reasons why you can't go into specific details.
Yeah.
So questions regarding specific deals and all that kind of stuff is for sure not things you can go into. Guess you can just confirm that, right?
Yeah, correct. I mean, and that's sometimes frustrating. And you may have seen a string of releases going out the last 2 days in order for me to actually say more today than I could have otherwise. So yeah, that's part of being listed.
Yeah, and we still get questions about companies that should be interested in buying you, and specific names of companies, and then again you can't answer questions like that. So let's just run through and see what we have. We have a question once again from Peter. Super good. Are you satisfied with the content situation? I mean, you're being able to provide and help with the content.
Yes, we are. So we are seeing we're seeing a very quite dramatic growth now in the amount of content we deliver, and I think that's partly due to I mean, a lot of our partners are great at doing content, but then again, some are not, and some are overpricing heavily. We've been trying to address that over the years. So I think part of it has to do that with the fact that we know our products in and out. We know we come from Peter and I come from the content creation industry ourselves. So that's really what we know how to do, and we built these platforms from a content creator's heart. Trying to build platforms that are really, as we see them, great storytelling tools. But sometimes we're just frustrated seeing how they're not really being utilized properly. So, I mean, for me, it's quite satisfying to also take part in that approach towards the end client. And so, yes, we are very satisfied with the situation.
Yeah, nice to hear. And then a question from Isaac here. First of all, thank you for having this webinar. You're very welcome. And then the question: are you positive to the chances of bringing this new groundbreaking technology to the market? And then I could follow up like, are you certain that this will be a success?
So, of course, we would not, go on to a large adventure like that if we were not, inside our hearts, 100% sure that there's a huge need for this approach. We cannot really, stop to think about all the places that this could be a really great solution, because over the time, and remember, Peter and I have been working on this field for since 2002. So so over the time we've seen so much appetite and so many situations where the right tool could have meant a world of difference. But today's solutions, and I'm sorry to say our own as well, are still so limited because they are putting up these technological barriers between the user and the effect. And that's really sort of, for me, the key is to rip out those limitations and to allow the user to just seamlessly see and interact with the fully three-dimensional, you could say, holographic image, with full look around capabilities. So yes, we are very enthusiastic about this new technology, and we cannot wait to tell even more about it.
That's nice to hear that we can set up some high expectations, hopefully. And then a question from Jason. Any other developments with expanding the size of deep frame lens?
So it's currently not our main focus. We are still working on eventually expanding the size, but there are still the same production limitations. So it's not just around the corner that we're going to launch a larger deep frame window.
Yes, and then a question from Sebastian, one of the last one. Are you still working on a consumer product when it comes to deep frame?
We're still working. We still have prototypes going, so no news there. Otherwise, we would have communicated that.
Yeah, and then a question from Henrik. Can you hint anything about the new hologram technology? They're fishing for some answers.
I like the question. I have said what I can, I'm afraid, Henrik, but be sure that I'm eager to tell more, but we have to wait just a bit more.
Yeah, and I think it was actually it. I can see we have also received some questions regarding the share value and robot trading and stuff like that. But I guess it's also something that you can't say anything about. No, it's very hard, right? There's also some restrictions there from the exchange, so we have to be aware of that as well. So finally, let's have the last question now. It just came in here. Are you securing IP of your own or through partners?
So we're securing our own IP.
Okay, great. Super short question and a short answer. That's super good. Well, and with that, I would actually give the chance to Clas to sum up or have his final comment on this webinar. And do you have anything to end off with here, Clas?
Well, I'll just take the opportunity shortly then to say thank you so much for all the people attending from wide and far. Great to see people that we know from a long way back as well being part of this webinar. So this has been my first. Hope you liked it. Thank you.
Yeah, and also a big thank you from Nordnet here, the Danish cooperation partner here in this webinar. Yeah, if you're already a customer and Danish, we're super glad that you took a part of it. And also all of you joining in from all parts of the world, super nice to have you here and welcome you here. And I hope that you got what you came from in matter of this webinar. So yeah, let's just say thank you and have a nice day and a nice evening and sleep well because you are joining in from all over the world. Yeah, basically just thank you very much for joining in and have a good day and evening.